Let us start this session with a small prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here on the second day of our professional development program, we come before you seeking guidance and wisdom as we delve into the topic systematic literature review. We acknowledge that true knowledge and understanding come from you, the source of all wisdom. Bless us with a spirit of collaboration, inspiration, and innovation as we seek to enhance our skills and knowledge in the field of systematic literature.
In your
Your
holy name, we pray. Now I
I
call.
call,
Now
now
I
I
call.
call Rekha Naidu ma'am to introduce and welcome the gathering.
Good morning and warm welcome to the second day of our professional development program. I hope all had a fulfilling and enlightening first day, and I trust that today will be equally insightful as we delve into the topic of systematic review of literature. Our esteemed speaker, Dr. Vineet, has vast experience in this field, and we share his insights, methodologies, and best practices with us. He will provide us with valuable tools and techniques to conduct systematic review effectively, ensuring that our work is grounded in highest quality evidence available. I also welcome the participants, professors, those who are attending this event, today's session. Welcome. I once again welcome you all. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Now I hand over the session to the resource person.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Yesterday we discussed the basic tools which could help us in the search of literature and content and problem formulation, etc., through AI-enabled searching. And today, it would be good if we understand the basics of systematic literature review, popularly known as SLR. And why so? Because it is very pertinent that the recent research always demands systematic literature review. Uh, we know, as I yesterday said, there are people who are yet to come out of the shells, but who are keen to update themselves and who are already have already came out of the shells know that internationally and nationally people are now using systematic literature review. So it's high time that we also learn the rules. So learn the rules of the game and play better than anyone else. It is told by Albert Einstein. So let us start the game, learning the rules of the game, and you can play better than me because you can learn better. So I'm sure sharing the screen now. Let me share the screen. So I think my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So as yesterday, we have discussed about how we normally formulate a problem and how we deal about the exploratory content seeking. We search for literature in LSET, we search for literature in connected papers, lit maps, like that. And after this exploratory content seeking and identifying the major concepts in your area, the major theories in your area, the major constructs or attributes in your area, then only you can think about systematic review literature, because for systematic literature review, you need well-defined research questions. If your research questions are not clearly, explicitly defined, SLR is almost not at all feasible, because it would be a vague search. Because when you don't have the route map with you, how can you get to the target? So have a clear route map with you. So it is easy to get to the target. So I will try to explain to you how to set a route map and get to the target. And how well you do it depends on your efficiency, because driving is your skill. I cannot drive for you. I hope you got the point. So I will be using the reference from one of the most important authors and editors in the world in social science, Dr. Justin Paul, who will be talking to you in the last session of this PDP. So his papers are taken as a major reference. So that paper will also be shared to you with his permission. Actually, he shared to all of us in the WhatsApp also. So those papers are getting great citations also in SLR circles. So it will be shared so that it will be a guideline for all of us to prepare and understand how SLRs are moving in. Okay, so I'll be explaining also the protocols and procedures which are available. And as I always give there will be some exploratory content which you can explore. I will give you some registries, the name of some registries which you can learn yourself. And I will be explaining a typical protocol, that is Prisma, which is easy to understand and internationally accepted for literature review purposes and meta-analysis. And I'll be also telling you the frameworks of SLR, which can be used to write papers as well as the review of literature part in research theses. That is the frameworks of SLR. And reference management, I'm sorry, this is part of this workshop normally, but since we don't have time for that, if we have time, by the time I end up my discussion, if I have time, I will just in 10 minutes, I will show you how to do that. Otherwise, leave it. Okay, I will also show you some summary tables, how to prepare summary tables in SLR. So these things were discussed yesterday. Research starts from theory and ends with addition to the theory after peer review. Only after peer review it is added. When you submit to a journal, and even sometimes you submit the journal to the WhatsApp to some what you call so-called publishers and get it published, and you say that it is in so-called listings, so-called rankings. These are not addition to knowledge. Only after proper peer review, these are addition to knowledge. And it has to be systematic in approach. It should be free from bias. It should be reproducible in results as well as process, which means even your literature review should be documented. The process and protocol should be documented. And that is why we follow SLR approach, systematic literature review approach. And the relevancy of findings and conclusions is also absolutely important. Why? Because in some student projects and even theses, we see that people write it as 50% were male and 50% were female. How can that be a finding? It is only a profile of the sample. That's just a demographic profile. And when you take a different sample, it will be a different profile. But when the preference of male is different from the female, that is a finding. That is what we generalize. That is what we try to generalize based on the level of significance. So write only those items which are relevant in findings and conclusions. Have control over your time, your cost, and your scope of the study. Have clearly well-defined question with you. We talked about this yesterday. So for our review purposes, these are the minimum references. The first four is what I insist on my scholars for review: Web of Science, Scopus, Science Direct, and ProQuest. The minimum SLR they are expected to do to have an international approach to their thesis: Web of Science, Scopus, Science Direct and ProQuest. Of course, Scoopus and Science Direct is both are run by Elsevier, but they are different. All those items in Scoopus are not in Science Direct, and all those items in Science Direct are not in Scoopus. So both are different. So you can do a separate SLR on these 4 items, and we club all these things together when you do a exhaustive study for a thesis purpose. Okay, and when you do topics like psychology or related topics, sometimes you also get into PubMed, which is a medical database. There also you get management papers. Sometimes some papers are also available in PubMed. PubMed is a free database, and EBSCO, JSTOR, etc. is also open. And Taylor and Francis, Springer, Wiley, Emerald, Sage, as we know, these are famous publishing groups, and they also the respective searches will also give you some inputs which might not sometimes reveal in the other searches. Why I say this? Because of out of my experience. The search algorithms are different in different websites, in different data sets. And that is why in exploratory content seeking level, we should try different websites. Then only we will get different results. For example, when we had a time when you have Yahoo as well as Google, and the search results were different. Hope you, the people who used both, remember that. Why? Because the algorithm is different. The search engine optimization strategy of the websites may be the same, but the search algorithm of the search engine is different. Got the point? So you will be finding the seminal articles, the landmark articles or the classic articles, and then find based on that, right? And this is where you should be very serious about. Have you really understood and have you really read through the seminal articles in your area? Serious question to be asked to each and every serious researcher, because I have seen through people who are yet to find the seminal articles. So they should have a real deep search. They should go for a real deep search. For example, I can show you one page. When you talk about psychological intentions, the book by Adzen, The Theory in 1975, Belief, Attitude, Intention and Behavior. The Adzen's later model, The Theory of Planned Behavior in 1991, is so famous that everybody use. But this is the origin, the first edition in 1975. This book gives you a brief, exhaustive, luxury reading of psychological beliefs, attitude, intention, and behavior. So have a pleasure of reading these things. Then only, so seminal article not only mean research article, it means books also. So get into those items and then only think of systematic review. Not just get straight away get into systematic review. Understand the real theory behind your topic. So you have a real idea of what has happened in that particular area, and then get into the field. Without that, if you get into that field, you might be producing something, missing out the diamonds. Got the point? So, as I said yesterday, you will be using the different AIRs, and of course, you should also be installing in your mobile phone the Researcher app. I insist you to install the Researcher app from Play Store. You can install the Researcher app, which will alert you on a daily basis if you follow the top journals of your area of interest. That one article is published in your area of interest. So at least you can read the abstract. If the article is purely open access, I mean gold open access, you can read the full paper. Otherwise, you can at least read the abstract. And your way of thinking, your way of approach to that topic, your research area will be absolutely different. So, my dear friends, please install Researcher app. You might be having WhatsApp, you might be having Twitter, you might be having Facebook, you might be having Instagram. And you may be posting bullshit all the time. But take some time. If you are a so-called researcher or a academician, pay some time to academics also. Install researcher app also and follow your area of interest. It may be psychology, it may be marketing, it may be tourism, it may be human resource management, it may be finance. Follow the top journals and see what is happening in that particular area. So this app will alert you. This paper is published today. I have received a alert like that. In the morning, a paper was published, and I got the alert in the afternoon. So it was catched afresh. What else you need? Such kind of alert. So you will be updated like that. I'm not promoting this app like wild. I'm not paid for that, but I just loved this app for that. The such service is great. So why review of literature is such important? So this is what I mentioned in my thesis, my PhD thesis. I mentioned Tirukural. The deeper you dig, the greater the spring. The more you learn, the greater the knowledge. Unless and until you dig deeper, you will not get the real wealth. Because if you have not sufficiently read the literature, your defense would be poor in the open defense or the questioning sessions. But if you have read thoroughly, have done whatever possible review possible in that area, and you have seen almost all dimensions of the topics through an SLR approach, and somebody asks a question for the sake of asking a question, you can answer with concrete evidence and competence. And that is why review of literature is important. So when we read literature, the person is as good as a variable, the relations is as good as hypothesis, societal norms will be good as theory, the family is as good as a model, and you introduce a gap in the model. That is where you introduce a new member, right? An example, you can see that the theory of recent action introduced by Fishburne, in that book also it is there. Fishburne is also co-author with Ashton in 1975 in that book. In theory of recent action, attitude subjective norms leads to behavior intention. And Ashton in 1991 added one more construct in the bottom, that is perceived behavioral control, otherwise called as self-efficacy. Later, a new name was also adopted. So, three constructs leading to behavior intention, which was later well known as theory of planned behavior. So, actually, the theory of planned behavior is more famous than theory of recent action. And we, the readers, are very common to understand this also. So, introduce such models into the existing theories. You can read that. And of course, there will be a question, where do I find these theories? Of course, you can get into Theory Hub. You can get into this website. You can search for Theory Hub in Google and get into this website and read about the theories, academic theories, concepts, etc. Each and every item will give you a PDF document. So there is attitude. Regarding measurement of attitude, there is Davis 1993. There is TAM model. So these kind of items will give you a lot of reference to read. So you'll be asking me, should I read? I don't have time. Then forget about it. You should find time. As I said, AI will read for you, but for your growth, it is better that you also read. So formulating research questions are coming after reading these literatures. It may be through gap spotting. You can have confusion spotting, neglect spotting, application spotting, or also through problematizations. And gaps may be like evidence gap, knowledge gap, practical knowledge gap, methodological gap, empirical gap, theoretical gap, and population gap. A lot of PhD thesis you can see uh, submitted in Shodhganga and our university, state universities are hanging around this population gap. That is, uh, such and such a topic, maybe women empowerment, entrepreneurship, etc., in one district, A district, under the guide. The same guide, next scholar, B district. The same guide, next scholar, C district. And the justification for the research problem is they say that the district is changed in population gap. Internationally, this will not stand because there is no real theoretical gap or empirical gap because it is only a change in the sample, basically speaking. Otherwise, that district should be absolutely demographically different from the other district. When both the districts are from the same state of a very similar nature or very close by nature, I'm really doubtful of such an estimation. Anyway, it is not good to have such research problems, and that is why in recent doctoral committees in our universities we don't allow such topics. We expect them to do topics where you have international exposure, at least national level exposure. So by reading through the different aspects, you have theoretical framework, literature, and experience, which will have you the conceptual framework, which will supplement you in the argumentation, explanation, and generation of ideas. And this is with which you can go further into your SLR after the exploratory content seeking. Okay. So for the searching strategies, you should be understanding how you can search. You should be knowing how to use the Boolean operators. We know that and, or, and not, and, or, not. These are the basic Boolean operators. And and means consumer satisfaction is actually meaning consumer and satisfaction. So and will be in capital letters. So consumer and satisfaction means consumer satisfaction. It will be searching for consumer satisfaction. So I am studying for consumer and satisfaction, not loyalty, which means it will be excluding loyalty studies. And consumer and satisfaction or customer satisfaction. What if you are add or consumer or customer, which means it will have customer related studies as well as consumer related studies, because you have a confusion in marketing literature, which one to use. Of course, we almost accept it as synonyms, almost. So random, when we come to the searching, you have random search, cited reference search, and building block search. And these are the three searching such strategies that you have as per the academic content seeking course in Coursera offered during the pandemic time. It is the course is still available in Coursera. I did the course. They are teaching these three strategies. Random search means you just search for consumer nostalgia or consumer negligence, those kind of things. So you have just one word. You don't know the alternative word for that. For example, when our student came out with topics, I want to study about financial difficulties faced by people in the COVID time. So since I have read sufficiently in the literature, I asked her, do you know what is called in the literature regarding that? She said no. I said that is called as financial fragility, fragility. So if you are financially fragile means you are not stable. You are not stable with finance. So that terminology is important. Random searches will give you the alternative words, the synonyms, and the real terminology is used in research. So at the beginning, if you don't have a clear idea of what are the real words to be used, random search will help you. Then cited reference search. Yesterday I explained to you lit maps, the backward search as well as the forward search. You got a seminal article or an important article, and which are the articles referred in this article, that will be the backward searching, that is cited reference searching. And which are the article citing this article, that will be forward referencing, that is also cited reference search. Okay. Number 3, building block search. This will give you we have to create building blocks for our SLR only after thorough reading, thorough understanding of the keywords and the proper conceptualization and everything. Okay, you have a building blocks. For example, consumer nostalgia in restaurants. Because in all our area, we see that nostalgic restaurants are building up a lot, right? And I had to publish a paper in a UGC Care journal, and we got a citation from an Elsevier, Chinese author, good author in tourism. And what happened is that this thing, the topic is building up only. So that is why we get the citation, because there are not much papers. So it is a good area to work with. So the consumer nostalgia in restaurants will give you the building block. Or you will say celebrity endorsement in FMCG products, celebrity endorsement in cement industry or whatever, automobiles. You have the building block. Building block should all have a quality. It should not be too long and it should not be too short. That's the basic quality expected out of the building block. Okay. And after this references review, you can have a hypothesis formulation, you can have a bibliometric analysis, you can have a meta-analysis, you can have content analysis, you can have ISM. I just showed you that SLR is not the end. There are a lot to learn further. So you will be citing, as I told you yesterday, you will be citing background citation, method citation, result citation. Result may be of two types, confirming the theory and contradicting with the theory. So when you read the papers, you will be finding unstructured abstract, which are having a paragraph, structured abstract, which this is an Emerald journal. So we have structured abstracts with subheadings. Okay. And after reading all these journals, this table is preparation in Excel is must. You have to mention the author, year, method, and the constructs, independent variable, dependent variable, moderating and mediation, if it is there, mention it. And what is the finding? And the findings should be written as, it is better that you prepare the summary table per construct under study. For example, I'm studying this for turnover intention. So I'm going to write a paragraph on turnover intention only. So then prepare the table for that, like that. So I need to write only this part, findings, themes, and priority. And theme and priority is my contribution to this table actually. Why? I will tell you in the example. Because after preparing the full table, you can identify the theme of the finding. Sometimes the findings in that paper, they might be having a good definition of the construct. In some papers, they might be saying that that particular item is really correlated with the demographical features or some other features. In some papers, they might be saying that some particular item is having a serious influence on this item, etc. Then on that kind of topics. And after writing these themes, you can fix a priority. In which order I should write this paragraph. So that right order number can also be made, and just sort it on that particular order number and start writing. That is how we can write. I will show you the summary table at the end. Okay. So GEL classification also yesterday I showed you. This also I showed you. And the type of reviews having the age-old narrative reviews is already exhausted. It is age-old. Rapid reviews and scooping reviews are also now getting less popular, because in scoping review, rapid reviews done with a very short period of time with no much effort, not sufficient comprehensive reading. But scooping reviews are done with more number of research questions. Umbrella reviews are reviews on reviews. As I told you, this literature review of literature reviews, that is an umbrella review. And systematic literature review is more and more getting more and more popular nowadays in good journals. And after collecting the literature reviews, if you do a statistical analysis based on that literature reviews, that becomes meta-analysis. Okay. And why do we do SLR? We need to have an international evidence on our topic. We should confirm the current practice. We should also identify the future research areas. We should also identify the conflicting results, and we should also produce statements to guide the decision making. And we should have some protocols. As I said, it should be reproducible, replicatable. It should be scientific. So we should have follow some protocols. The protocols are found in some registries. These are different websites: Prospero, Research Registry, InPlazi, OSF registries, protocols.io. You can just use it. These are library science areas. Even if you register your own protocol, you can register your protocol in this website and get some credit for that. But what we follow is Prisma. FICO is a medical protocol, most popular in medical databases. In our elicit yesterday search also, we find this words: population, intervention, outcome, etc. So internationally, when you read some papers, you might come up with this. You might come up with this word: FICO framework: population, intervention, comparison, and outcome. Population means the sample in which you are doing this research. Intervention means what is the variation, manipulation you are doing. For example, a medicine is given or a experiment is done. And what is the comparative research and what are the outcomes. And these are the type of review articles you can publish. You can have a structured review. You can have a framework-based review, which we promote. I would say I recommend the framework-based reviews. Bibliometric reviews are getting more and more popular nowadays. Hybrid reviews, I mean, using framework plus bibliometric plus structured. A combination of these is called as hybrid reviews. And reviews aiming at theory development is also done by Justin Polzer. This is also very popular getting. Then quantitative reviews are also there and qualitative reviews are there. Mixed methods are also there. You can also do a meta-analysis. You can also have theory-based reviews. And framework-based reviews are more popular and more easy for beginners. I would say it is more easy for beginners and much better for thesis purposes. So we will learn what are they: TCCM, TCM, 5W plus 1H, and ADO, IMO, and ADO TCM. Let us learn one by one. The names itself is self-explanatory. TCCM means theory, context, characteristics, and methodology. We will prepare a table. As I showed you that table, similarly, we prepare a table. And against that table, we will write what was the theory discussed in that particular table, what was the context, what was the characteristics, and what is the methodology. That's it. And based on the full table summarized, we will write our findings. That is TCCM. When you exclude the characteristics, it is TCM: theory, context, and methodology. It works well with the other frameworks and it is shorter and easy. 5W and 1H is typically the English way of questioning: who, when, where, what, why, and how. But the problem is that you should be able to understand the prominent authors, the origin and evolution of the time context of the theory, the geographical context of the evolvements, the topical discussions happened, the rationale of the study, and guide for future research. This is also popular. And when you do this kind of a study, after the collection of the data, your inclusion and exclusion criteria will be based on this. Can I have this 5W from this paper? That's the idea. Overall idea is that, can I have all those inputs required for this 5W plus 1H? If one column is blank or one or two column is blank, my analysis will fail, right? So it will, that paper will be excluded from my analysis purpose. I mean, a synthesis purpose. For the purpose of SLR, we call it synthesis. For the purpose of synthesis purposes, we just avoid that particular paper. And the most celebrated tool of SLR is ADO, antecedents, decisions, and outcomes. Because most of us may be familiar with the analysis tool of modeling, factorial equation modeling, or those kind of models. Let it be covariance based or PLS based. You have an input, you have a processing part or a middle portion, and you have an output. So the left portion can be called as the antecedents, the middle portion can be called as the decision, and the right port can be called as the outcome. So if you take a quantitative study, you can concentrate on these study into these three parts. You can write an ADO paper. Got it? Same thing is recreated as IMO, input, mediator, and outcome. A different author named it, that's all. ADO and IMO are almost similar, but the name is different. That's ADO TCM is a new generation. As I said, TCM works better when it is combined with something else. So ADO TCM means along with antecedents, decision, and outcome, it combines the theory, context, and method. So it is best suited for your paper as well as your thesis literature review chapter. Your literature review chapter will be beautiful if you can present such a table there. Your defense, your thesis will be well commented if your reviewer is also aware of these things. So I have presented a summary from Justin Polzar paper. You can read through it. I'll be giving this to you. So since we are having a very short time, I'm just skipping the part. Okay. This is the SLR procedure. You have a topic selection part. You choose your topic. I have already told you how we will be selecting the topic. Second, you have a selection criteria. That is an inclusion criteria as well as an exclusion criteria. Both should be explicit, which means it should be written. Got it? It should be written. You should not be saying that it isn't in my mind, I am doing it. I know many researchers and scholars saying that I know these things, but not written. That won't work. It should be explicit. At least in your system, it should be typed in. Even if it's not written, it should be typed in. So have an explicit criteria. Have an explicit research question, well-defined explicit research question, well-defined inclusion criteria, well-defined exclusion criteria. Decide your streams and period. That is, when you get into the search databases, let it be Scopus or Web of Science, especially in Scopus, you get into, there is no commerce. Normally business management, economics, social science, etc. Only that. So you have to decide which stream are you going to limit your search. So decide on the stream which you are going to limit, and the period. Normally 5 to 10 years is standard for SLR purposes, but when you go for it, theses, I won't mind even it is the full period when the topic is of a recent origin. Even if it is 20 years, I won't mind, because I like comprehensive studies. But it depends on your time. If you prepare a decent work. Of course, for these purposes, it is better that you have a comprehensive work. Okay. After this selection and preparation of the table, as I said, you do a thematic analysis. Let us see how. For this, we'll be using the famous protocol called as PRISMA protocol. Preferred reporting of items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. That is PRISMA. Actually, we have 3 stages: identification, screening with the inclusion and exclusion criteria, and inclusion. With this protocol, you can clearly say that, sir, I have reviewed 64 articles. 64 and 10 reports and 5 theses. If your inclusion, exclusion criteria and research questions are clearly defined and defendable, your process is correct, scientific. There is no hard and fast rules that your review should be 100, 200. There is like that. But your inclusion and exclusion criteria should be defendable. You should not be putting in inclusion and exclusion criteria such a way that you are getting a lesser number. That is incorrect. But after having put a correct method, then that is fine. For my scholar, when we did this purpose for the thesis, we ended up, after the review process, we ended up into 376 articles and 6 theses and few reports. Got it. So that is fine. I would say that is needed for a thesis, for a good thesis. I would in bold italics underline for a good thesis. Okay, let us see what is Prisma and learn how it is done. So in Google, we'll be searching for Prisma statement. We'll be getting into the website prismastatement.org, in which you can click on Prisma statement. In this website itself, you have a lot of things to be clicking and learning things, a lot of things. Sometimes you may be spending your lifetime itself to learn these things. So for the time being, you can download and read the checklist and the flow diagram. 2 items. It is must. You should read through checklist and flow diagram. Checklist means you the summary, as I already told you. You should have the research question explicit. You should have explicit inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, etc. These are the checklist. And flow diagram, which will be part of your review. And in your review, the next item is that, do you have only literature from databases and registers, and do you have other sources? What do you mean by this other source? Means United Nations report, WTO report, Asian Development Bank report, RBI report, IRDA report, etc. These are not found in Scopus, Web of Science, etc. Right? So if you want to include such reports in your review, not in the other one, if you want to include these things in your review, it is better that you use the second one. If you are not using it in your review, forget it, no problem. So download this Word file. It is editable. So this is in the identification phase. I'm just zooming so that there may be people who are viewing from mobile. In the identification phase, you will be mentioning how many databases and registers you have searched. For example, in my example, I told you 4: Scopus, Web of Science, ProQuest, and Science Direct. Got it. And the other websites, maybe United Nations, RBI, World Bank, etc. Then duplicates can be removed. How can I remove duplicates? Because in the Scopus listed articles, they may be included in Web of Science, and sometimes they may be included in Science Direct also. So I will be sorting it in the Excel file. This is my Excel file. So for financial satisfaction, I have taken this file, right? So from Scopus, I have it. From ProQuest, I have it. From Web of Science, I have it. So after taking all these, I will be sorting it based on the title. On the basis of the title, if I sort it, I can find the duplicates and I can remove it. I will remove only one. I will retain one, at least one, because I want to be included, right? So duplicates can be removed. Those item removal can be done. Then I have read only the heading. I have not read the paper. I have read only the heading. I have not read the paper. Then I will be screening the title and abstract. Title and abstract. With that, I will be screening. Let's say I have screened 600 articles. From that itself, I found that some 50, 60 articles are not worth of it. I am excluding it with reason. It is not in my area. It is not related to the area, or whatever reason I can cite. Then I am looking for downloads. That is sort for retrieval. I'm trying to download these items. That is report sort for retrieval. Sometimes you might not get it. You can exclude with the declaration that you did not get that article, even after visiting a proper university library. Sometimes, even after visiting some libraries, you might not get full access, because in some universities they will have a limited access. For example, when I search for a journal in event management, one of the best journal is not subscribed in the university which I visit, because their research in tourism is not in that level. That's maybe they are not interested in that journal. That's why. But that is one of the top journal. Unfortunately, I want articles from that, but it is not my university. That's why I'm an external member. So, and after that, reports assessed for eligibility, maybe 500. And maybe again from that, I am removing, say, 120 articles. I'm removing with one reason, two reason, etc. I'm removing. And final inclusion. Finally, I'm including this many number of reviews and this many reports. This is the Prisma table. Okay, that's the number of reviews. And what I do with this review, I will be writing this summary. As I already told you, I will be writing the summary findings. I will be writing the theme. The theme is here. The theme is this article was defining financial satisfaction. This article was having a demographic relevance of financial satisfaction. This article was also having demography. This article was having demography as well as financial behavior. This is the same. This article was having related to life cycle and gender. This is with gender only. This with gender only. Income and demand. So identify the theme of the articles, and I have assigned the priority number. Based on this priority number, I will start writing the article. I have sorted it in the base of this number. That's why it is appearing like this. And based on this priority numbers, after the sorting, I will start writing. I can show that writing also. Yes. So I start with the definition of the item with the citing of these three articles I have listed. Then citing the socioeconomic factors influence the level of satisfaction. Then the behavior. Then the gender, age. But the sentences are mine. I'm using my own sentences so that there is no plagiarism. Idea I have taken, but the sentences are mine. This is the most important part in writing review of literature. People simply copy and paste and then try to change some words and claiming that it is review of literature. I would say it is bullshit. That is not review of literature. You should take the essence and report it in your own words. If it is their words, it should be put in quotes, double quotes. Whatever written without a double quote should be your own words. You have learned in English, right? When it is somebody else is telling something, then it should be in double quotes. Otherwise, it should be normal text. In research, whatever is reported in others' words, it should be in double quotes. Not we would say that it is reported speech. No, that won't be there. That won't serve the purpose. That won't save you from the ethics of research. So this is how it is written. So this is the purpose done. So my next agenda was to introduce you to Zotero, the citation software, which is a free one. You can just download this item. It is free. It is better that I will share my YouTube video on this to you, so that to the coordinator it will be shared. So it will be shared in the group also. So you can use it. Those who are fresh to the topic can use it. You should both use the Zotero connector and the Zotero software. This is free. And the latest version of Scopus, and why you should be careful is that the latest version of Scopus helps you to find these articles also. Now I will be showing how to search for these articles in Scopus for SLR purposes. So you search for your articles. For example, I'm searching for memorable tourism experience. They say that there are 527 articles. So SLR example, I'm telling you an SLR research example, 527 documents. And you can limit the range here. You can also check for the year range. This is the period research. If you want to limit the range, you can limit. Suppose I want to know the only recent 5 years, you can limit your searches like that. You can limit to the search area, subject area, that is the stream: business management and accounting, social science alone, economics alone, computer science alone. That is the stream. So stream, period, and sometimes people limit it to articles and review papers alone. Why? Because book chapters and conference papers are inferior as far as proper research publications are concerned, because their peer review is sometimes relaxed. We get easier publications than a real journal publication. So in serious researches, I mean higher order researches, they take only articles and review papers, not the other papers. Got it. And if you are interested in, you have already found out that one journal is superior in this area. For example, the Journal of Travel Research is having maximum publication. So I want to do an SLR in that journal alone. You can do that. That is also done. Such papers are also coming up. You have SLR papers or bibliometric papers coming from only one journal. It is also published with some very limited keywords. A bibliometric analysis of memorable tourism experience in one journal. That kind of papers are available, etc. So keywords limitation is possible. Destination marketing, tourist destination, memorable experience. These are also possible. And next level, as a researcher, you should also check with this analyze results. When you check with this analyze results, you can know that the trend of publication is going up. Means your area is emerging. Suppose the graph is falling. It was high in 2011, 13 or 15, and now it is falling. Then you can say that your topic is dying. Got the point? Now I can surely say that my area is emerging, and that is why I'm also working in this area. So I can find those areas, I can justify in the research advisory committees or open defenses or those kind of meetings or paper presentations that my topic is emerging with this particular graph. And I can also identify which is the most important source in this particular area. So the Journal of Travel Research, Current Issues in Tourism, Sustainability by MDPI in Switzerland, Tourism Management Perspectives and Anatolia are the most important sources. So you will get this information. I can also understand who is the most important author in Scopus. Stapit is the most important author with 23 documents in Scopus. So this is the way you can identify with data, and you should also ensure that your reviews are covering these people. When you're writing your literature review, when you're writing whatever, you should be ensuring that you are covering this people. Okay, so let us also see, after getting I'm trying with these the other part. If you're doing a bibliometric analysis or citation purposes, for citation, I mean, say if you are having a Mendeley or Zotero, etc., for that purpose, you can download this RIS file, Reference Information System file, Zotero, EndNote, RefWork, or Mendeley. These four softwares are most famous in the world. Mendeley is the best, but I would recommend Zotero because easy to use. So you can also import your Mendeley files into Zotero. So that's not at all a problem. Reverse is also possible, I believe. And so Zotero is what I recommend. It is for easy for the beginners. So you can download this file and import this file to Zotero so that everything will be there. You need not add one by one. So, okay, that is one example. And for the purpose of the Excel file, as I told you, I need the Excel file to edit, remove the duplicate, etc. From Scopus and Web of Science, you can download this CSV file. So the CSV file can be opened in Excel. So it serves the purpose of that data sheet. But from Science Direct and ProQuest, you will have to type the title. Okay, that is our requirement. So this is regarding systematic literature reviews. So thank you very much for your patient listening, and I'm open for your queries, if any.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can raise your hands or write in chat box.
Somebody have raised a hand.
Professor Jay Prakash, you can ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, you're not audible, sir.
So very good morning. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So very good morning, sir. Can you hear me, please, sir?
Yes. Yes. Please speak. It's muted.
Any other questions? Sir, there is a question from participant. Sir, could you please share few good SLR research papers that help the beginners to write?
Yeah, I will be sharing some papers in the group. I mean, to the coordinator that will be shared in the
Sir,
group.
very good morning. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes. Yes, please speak up. Yes, sir. Jayaprakash. I think he's having network issues.
Any other questions? Professor Geetanjali, you can ask your question, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
A very interesting presentation, and we got a lot of new insights, sir. Wanted to get a little clarity on, could we use the same topic for presenting papers or publishing papers in the same topic, a bibliometric analysis as well as SLR and meta-analysis, or would that lead to duplication of our own work?
You will have to rewrite the words. That's it. The title can be the same, no problem.
So same work can be used for all the three types of.
Yes, because the protocol is the same. No, it can be done, no problem. But the writing can be should be different. The self plagiarism should not happen.
Okay. And also, if you could share certain good journals which allow publications of these kind of literatures, that would really help all of us.
Because I'm also in search of the such journals. But, in fact, I come across only very good top journals, but I'm yet to get into those. So
Sure, sir.
anyway, if I get into, I will be sharing to the coordinators. Okay.
Thank you.
Shall we close the session, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I especially thank Dr. Vinit KM for the wonderful session for the day. And also I thank our management, Pedestrian Management, for the great opportunity to conduct this program. And also I thank all the participants for their patience and their interest in this session. Thank you, one and all.
Dear participants, I have shared the feedback link. Kindly fill the feedback link.